Mark Rogers TV and SEC Breakdown, bringing in Peter Burns of the SEC Network to talk, of course, SEC football. With we're just about 3 to 4 weeks away, Peter. So this is the point in which we're starting to get some news back from individual camps about what's going on out there, but still a lot of secrecy in regards to development and who's winning positional battles. And the one that really jumps out for most SEC football fans looking at the landscape of the conference and who's going to compete for key, meaningful jobs is, of course, the Georgia quarterback situation, where Jacob Eason seems to be the guy that the fans want because he's got the big ceiling. But you've got Brice Ramsey, you got Greyson Lambert with experience. So how do you see this thing playing out at this point?
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's still a couple of weeks to go, obviously, 2 more weeks of practice before we get into game week and what they're going to decide. I think it's going to go down to the wire down in Athens. I mean, you know what you get out of Ramsey. You know what you get out of Lambert, right? I think the ceiling is set, not necessarily very high, but you know how they can play. You don't know. I mean, Jacob Eason, in my opinion, has the highest ceiling out of all 3. But, Mark, as you know, how hard is it for a freshman to play football in the SEC? I mean, maybe they could do it in the Big 12, in the Pac-12, where they don't play a whole heck of a lot of defense. But this is big boy football. And this is a big week 1 game against North Carolina. Remember, their defensive coordinator is Gene Chizik, and he had that defense humming. Didn't look very good in last year's finale for the bowl game, but they got a lot better. So if I'm Mark Richt, I mean, I'm so used to saying Mark Richt. If I'm Kirby Smart, there's no doubt in my mind that Jacob Eason should not be the starter week 1, unless it is just so clear that he's head and shoulders above everyone else. Because I don't know about you, but I frankly believe that Georgia may struggle a little bit this year. I don't know if they have quite the playmakers that we were so used to them, and I'm not sure if Sony Michel's injury is not going to really hurt Nick Chubb's production early in the season as well, too, because that was a great 1-2 punch. Quarterback issues, I just think that they're going to struggle. So if that's the case, if you put Jacob Eason, who is the future of your program, into a starting position right off the bat, that could get ugly. If he doesn't do well, it's just not a very good way to protect kind of what we would like to think is a future draft pick or a future program changer for Kirby Smart.
Peter, I think we're on the same page here, so I don't want to pick on the Big 12 specifically, but the defense is so, for the most part, aside from maybe in Oklahoma or a couple of programs standing out as
they need to have better defenses, or else it's no fun that we don't pick on it.
All right, you're going to say it flat out for me, but the underneath throws, the bubble screens, a kid can be successful maybe early in his career there because he's got superior offensive weapons and he can be successful in that kind of style game. But man, they hit so hard in the SEC, and again, we're talking overall comparisons there.
Plus, think about it too, Mark. If you're in your first season, right, wouldn't you like to have the ace in the hole of Jacob Eason rather than starting off with Jacob Eason? What if, my goodness, he's 1 of 15, he's thrown 4 picks, and you're like, this is the start of the Kirby Smart era? Like, no, I would almost rather have him, because I remember Jared Lee out of LSU. When Ryan Perrilloux was kicked off the team, they had to stick Jared Lee right into a starting position, and it ruined Jared Lee. He never got a chance to really truly develop and take his time and learn the quarterback position, which I think he could have done if brought along properly. And that set LSU back probably 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Heck, they may not have recovered since that situation.
Checking all the boxes that make sense in terms of a default mechanism of a backup plan, and that makes total sense. I will say the one thing for starting a freshman quarterback, a true freshman, even in this league today versus what it was years ago, that these guys are so prepped in high school and with these elite camps, and they are so prepared compared to what they were years ago, where they needed that time to acclimate themselves. We see a different brand of quarterback preparation coming into this situation.